Hello, Dr. Wen. Today my group and I will present about what's the matter with Chinese house price. Our group is made of Zhang Sijia, Tao Lilin, Chen Jia, Liu Shuyao, and myself, Wang Chenyun. This is our outline. The first part is background, which explains the current situation of house price in China. In the second part, we found out several factors that may affect the price of the house according to the query documents, and analyze these factors. In order to find out the relationship between them, in the third part, we used multiple linear regression model. And we are also curious about whether house prices and stocks are homogeneous. So we did time series and we have a final conclusion in the last part. With China's rise and development, international influence is expanding day by day. In the steady growth process of state economy, the real estate closely related to people's livelihood plays an essential role. The housing bubble has always been a hot topic. Because of its existence, some people use it to earn high profits, while some people make great effort to have their own house forever. We want to know the story behind the bubble. This is a variable trend graph of house prices in Beijing in 2018. It has continuous increase, which means the demand for houses is still growing. We also see that there are changes in growth rate. This kind of change, which make house price increase steadily, can't be separated from the implementation of relevant government policies. In order to directly and clearly see the regional distribution of housing prices, we make house price heat map by using powerful Python models. We can see that the housing prices are decreasing from coastal cities to inland cities. In addition to Shenzhen, the special economic zone, Beijing, the capital, and Shanghai, the financial center, the housing prices of these places are overheated, and the overall housing prices are relatively stable. In the following content, my partner Lilin will introduce those factors that affect the real estate market.
In town, I'm going to talk about factors that affect real estate market. When the economic growth declines, the government will launch various preferential policies to encourage real estate investment, hoping that the growth of the real estate investment will drive GDP growth. When the economic grows too fast, the government will curb the overheating of the economy through real estate macro policies. Real estate has become a tool for regulating GDP growth, which has also pushed up prices in the real estate market. Among the components of housing prices, land costs account for a large proportion. Therefore, the study of the relationship between land prices, land supply area, and real estate prices has a great significance in promoting the rational development of the real estate market. The increase in house prices had a profound impact on people's life, especially in the marriage market, as houses in China are considered the most important symbol of economic strength. However, most of the house purchase decisions in the housing market occur when making marriage decisions. House purchase decisions and marriage decisions are closely linked. Owning a house in China's current society is often considered a necessary condition for married couples. However, the high housing prices brought by the housing reform have put pressure on the younger generation to marry. Rising house prices may make it difficult for young people with lower socio-economic status to find a spouse. For the divorce rate, the higher the house price, the greater the pressure on the family to supply the house. So housing price is also an important factor for the divorce. Lastly, salary is undoubtedly an important factor affecting house prices. With the increase of income, people's demand for housing will further increase. There is a positive strong correlation between house prices and salary, with house prices as the dependent variable and income as an independent variable. Regression models are used here, and my friend Chen Jia is going to talk about more about linear regression model. Thanks.
we need to figure out which factors may affect house price significantly. So we develop a multiple linear regression model. In this model, we include all of the possible factors: average salary in each place, local GDP, local divorce registration rate, marriage registration rate, and urban construction land area to run the regression. We use Python as a tool to import data of different places across China in year 2018 and use ordinary linear regression method to calculate the regression results. From the result table, for each factor, x1 to x5, we need to check the p-value. Only the factors whose p-value is smaller than 5% should be considered to be significant. We found out p-value in x1 was smaller than 5%. Others were very large. Therefore, only x1 factor is significant, which is the average salary in each province. We can conclude that only average salary is the significant factor that can influence the average house price in our model. We can check the results by comparing the trend of the average house price and salary in Beijing during the past few years. We can see the trends are highly identical. But of course, this model is not a comprehensive one. It has many constraints. Firstly, it was based on linear regression model, but it might be more suitable for other models, such as logistic regression, polynomial regression, etc. Moreover, the factors we include in this model are not enough. There are many other factors we need to find out. For example, CPI index, local policy, and even green space of city might be a factor. Data samples are not large enough too. The data may not be that accurate, especially for income data. We also need to consider whether the house price data is stationary. Therefore, my teammate Sijia will talk about the ADF test for the house price data in the next part. Thanks.
Okay, we also want to know that for this kind of time series, it is stationary or non-stationary. So we take Beijing as the example. We select the data of Beijing and set year as the index. First, we did a rolling mean, which can clear some noise. And you can see that we use different windows, 12 months and 24 months. And it obviously showed that the average house price is a non-stationary time series. But in order to further confirm whether it is stationary or not, we did a ADF test. As you can see that before the first differencing, the ADS test result shows that the p-value is 0.5, which is larger than 0.05, and lag used is 1. It means that we accept H0 and the average house price is a non-stationary time series. So we did the first differencing, and after the first differencing, we did ADF test again. And fortunately, the p-value is approaching to 0, and the lag use is 3. It means that we add 3 to clear potential series correlations. And finally, we reject H0. It means that the difference between the average house price is a stationary time series, which means the increasing rate. And also, we do the plotting of it, and you can see that the mean of it seems like the constant. Also, we do the autocorrelations to double check the results, and you can see that before the first differencing, it is like the trend, and after the first differencing, most of the data is between a confidence interval. And then we need to choose the proper model to do the predictings. Before that, we did a seasonal plotting to see that the trend, it seems like the trend is linear, so we can use adaptive models. And finally, we choose ARIMA model. And why we choose this model? First, in the last slide, you can see that the training is linear, and as we know that after the first differencing, it is a stationary time series. So ARMA model will be the better choice. So we choose this model and do the test, and the results show that after trying, we found that the order of 312 may be the best choice. And you can see that all the p-values is small and it is significantly important. But the model is not the best one because that you can see that likelihood is not big enough, and AIC, BIC, HQIC is not small enough. And also we do the prediction plotting, and you can see that when we use the actual value to make the predictions, it seems like the model is good, and it because that the dynamic equals to false, it means that we use all the training data. And however, we need better models to do the analysis. But through the test and we get a result is that a set price is not stationary, and the increasing or decreasing rates of it is a stationary time series, just like a stock price. So we need other methods to make our models better, choose better variables. And next, our classmates will introduce the conclusion and suggestions of our whole project. Welcome, Shu Yao.
Thanks Sijia for her presentation. I am Liu Shuyao, and now let me have a conclusion about our group project. Our motivation is to do a project to find the reasons which create the bubble about the house price and how much they can make an influence. Firstly, we draw a heat map about Chinese house price in different cities to show the difference. Then we found some factors which may affect the house price, draw scatter plot and line chart about different factors worked with the house price. In this part, we not only discovered the tendency but also prepared to make a multiple linear regression model. In the next step, we did some different rolling mean to clear some noise and make sure that the data is almost a non-stationary time series. And we use ADF test and a RIMA model to make a deeper analysis. In the next step, during the project, I think our group members all did a good job. All the people in this group joined in the discussion and code writing, but we still find some short points they have mentioned before. So personally, it's necessary for us to compare the increase rate of house price with its related factors, develop a more comprehensive model and get more data and bigger database. We can compare the increase rate of the house price with its related factors and develop a more comprehensive model. For example, the increase rate of average income and the increase rate of construction line area. This is our reference to do the project. That is all of our presentation. Thank you for your listening. Goodbye.